From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. We are in the 22 News Plus studios. I'm very fortunate today to be joined across the desk by Mayor Dominic Sarno from the city of Springfield. Mayor Sarno, thank you so very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Patrick.
I know you're a very busy man, so thank you for giving me a little bit of your time.
Best meeting of my day.
Well, I appreciate that. A little bit today, you and I have never really had a chance to sit down and talk, so I don't know a lot about you. So this is really educational for me, and maybe a lot of our viewers are in the same boat. You've been mayor of City of Springfield for a number of years. I think at this point in time, you are the longest-serving mayor.
Longest-serving mayor in the city's history. I'm in my 18th year, and I don't say that for myself, Patrick. I say that for my parents, God rest their souls. Alfonso Al, the barber, Sarno, my mother, Clara Sarno, a barber and a seamstress. I'm first generation. They came over from the old country, having at times to hide and survive underground during World War II, Nazi occupation, and proud for them. And I really do appreciate doing your show. I've watched your show.
Oh, thank you.
And I really liked when you had Bobby Simone on, your GM, the history of 22.
Right.
And then you had our dear friend John O'Brien on. And by the way, you did a nice job at Fancy Steps there with my former chief of staff, Tommy Ash, was one of the dancers.
He did well.
And he did a great job.
Ciara Speller did well. They all did fantastic.
They raised a lot of money for that cause. So
it was my first time ever emceeing that event. It was a blast. Yeah. It was so much fun.
Great crowd.
I have 600 people, all for the Children's Museum at Holyoke. So a wonderful time. So I always ask this of people in elected office. Why? Why did you choose the attention, the stress, the finger pointing, in today's political world, the animosity towards elected officials? Why go that route? You're a smart man. You could have gotten into the business world and been extremely successful, probably very rich, but you chose public service. Why?
Well, as we're saying out there, my mother used to always say to me, everybody loves you, Dominic. I said, Ma, not everybody waves at me with all five fingers. You have to make decisions. I really got the bug in my father's barbershop.
Really?
Because my father, old-time barber, and he had his own business. We were on the first floor. My mother had a seamstress tailor shop on the first floor, lived on the second floor, Lower Dixon Street. And my father would get people from all walks of life, pillars of the community, the regular rank and file. And, they taught me about hard work ethic and respect and following through. But I always, when they came to the shop, many a times people would talk to him about Alphonse, or I got a problem here. Who do I need to see or talk to? Or my kid's got a problem. The neighbor has a problem. And in those days, the word politician sort of was like revered because you helped causes, you helped people, you helped move your city or town forward. And I sort of got the bug in my father's barbershop. And then, in school, got involved in that and got involved in some campaigns. But you got to be in this business because you're right. You're not going to make $1 million. You got to be in this business because you want to do good for the community, not for yourself, good for the community. And so that's where I got the original bug in my father's, Al the Barber's, the barbershop.
It's funny you bring up the barbershop because I think back to growing up. I grew up in Westfield. My barber knew everyone, and he was the connecting point, just like your dad.
Patrick, you hit it right in the head.
Yeah, he knew. Hey, I need a plumber. I need to get this variance done at my yard. Whatever. He's like, call this guy, call that lady, whoever. Yeah, it's so funny that was what instigated you into political life.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's fast forward a number of years. Mm-hmm. Is it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah. You know what? Listen, I'm honored and very proud to be the mayor of the city of Springfield. And people always ask me, what are you going to, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? What are you going to do down the road? If this is the last elective office I hold, I'll be perfectly happy. Only mayors know what mayors go through.
Exactly.
And, there's decisions that are rendered. You can't make everybody happy all the time. But if you base it on good government, most people get it. We've had a lot of accomplishments under my administration. I have a great team. It's just not me. I have a great team.
Right.
And but there's more to be done. But I'm very proud of when I took over we were in tough financial
I was going to bring that
situation.
up. You know,
We were nearly bankrupt.
right.
The Financial Control Board, I had served on it as council president with then Mayor, the late Charlie Ryan, and worked together. And then as I took over, my first couple of years as control board was there. So, you were nearly at junk bond status, but you got to have your financial house in the order.
Right.
That allows you to do all the sexy projects or important projects. We now have the highest bond ratings in the city's history, a healthy reserve when needed. And, who knows, it might be needed down the road with the way decisions are being made on the federal level. Schools, when I took over with schools, Patrick, and I'm a proud graduate of Springfield Public Schools, High School of Commerce, the graduation rate was hovering a little over 50%. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So, and the dropout rate was nearly 14%. So we had to hammer away on that. And now at times we're as high as 86% graduation rate. And the dropout rate was as low as 1.9 pre-worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. That's key. Because we got to get to our people.
Less than 2% of high school students were dropping out.
It moved up a little bit to 3 now. You got to get the people and their families wraparound services at a young age. Schools, I had schools dating back to the 1890s.
Yeah.
I've been able to build a rehab over about $1 billion in new schools, rehab schools in the city of Springfield, the most in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we're going to be building new other schools and rehabbing schools, and that's extremely important. On that economic development, a myriad of projects, but large or small, well over $5 billion being done. That creates a good 4-letter word, not snow. I know what you're with Brian Lapis for skiers, but jobs, JOBS, and in public safety will always be my number one priority. And I'm very proud of our police department now under the command of Police Superintendent Larry Akers. And I also found that a lot of times mental health plays a big factor. And now, we did an initiative that I have BHN workers going out with my police officers on those calls with mental health calls. And youth development from my old South End Community Center days is big to me. And we'd have invested millions and millions of dollars in youth development programs and put new fields, community centers.
There's a lot happening in this.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things. And then I know we're going to talk about the man-made and natural disasters.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good time to take our first break. We are here with Mayor Dominic Sarno from the city of Springfield. Stay with us. There's plenty more to come. We'll be right back.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, folks, to this edition of In Focus. I am here in the 22 News Plus studio with Mayor of Springfield, Dominic Sarno. Mr. Mayor, again, thank you so very much for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
We talked a little bit about your history and your life in politics. Since you first came into office, you have faced a lot of interesting challenges. A number of things in the political world, you see them coming. But June 1st, 2011 is not one of those things you saw coming.
No.
And that was the EF3 tornado that started in Westfield, not far from where I live, and ended in Charlton, Sturbridge, something like that. Let's go back to that day. What was going through your head when you first heard? Actually, I think it was Brian Lapis who broke it and said there was a tornado coming to downtown Springfield.
And ironically, that was on my mother's birthday, June 1st, too. And I in New England, every once in a while you get a nor'easter or a blizzard, roars up the coast, or maybe you get some tail end of a hurricane. But in your wildest dreams, in the center of the city, downtown, an EF3 tornado with 160-mile-an-hour winds, never in your wildest dreams. And I remember that day. It was very, very hot and humid, and it was like a blanket on you. And of course, 22 was reporting about tornado watch on, but nobody ever thinks you're going to get a tornado.
It was like 1978 or something. One hit Bradley Airport. But
so then all of a sudden, that tornado has crept over the Connecticut River and has hit downtown Springfield, and it tore up. I don't know how it missed City Hall. It tore up Court Square. It worked its way, tearing up all of South Main Street into the south end of Springfield, all the way up Central Street and the Maple High Six Corners, which took a major hit, and then devastating hit in East Forest Park, and then started to go a little bit out to the Outer Belt and 16 Acres area. It was surreal. And I remember that we got ourselves in our emergency preparedness center at the Ray Sullivan Fire Station up on Carew Street.
Mm-hmm.
And three things you got to do, Patrick, when you face these types of natural and man-made disasters. You got to look people straight in the eye or look straight in the camera and tell them, one, what happened. Two, what we're going to do about it. And three, probably more important, hope. We're going to get through this thing together. And the heroic saves that were made by first responders were tremendous. But I remember phones weren't really working. So you're using the walkie-talkie, the radios.
Right.
And Commissioner Bill Fitcher was police commissioner at the time. And, what's the count? What's the count? In other words, how many people dead?
Perished, right.
And nobody got killed, thank God. We had about 38 to 42 serious injuries. 3 people did pass. There was 2 in West Side and 1 in the Brimfield area. We ended up helping out that West Side family. God rest the souls of their lost ones. But I remember we did the press conference. It was almost midnight. And I had told people, I said, keep the area, with all due respect, keep the press out of there because we got to get our everything, our ducks in a row here about Madonna. Press, you had all you were in there. So we were literally in a long...
It's the nature of what we do.
We were literally in a long, very thin hallway. I mean, sweat was just dripping off us. And at the time I think Governor Patrick came and others came.
Right.
And we did that press conference at about 12 midnight. And then I remember we commandeered the Mass Mutual Center, and we had 400 families down there.
Wow.
And I remember the guys, my police officers saying to me, hey, Mayor, hey, Dominic, Sarno, you got to take a walk down South Main Street. This is probably about 2 a.m. And at this time now, when it had hit, we didn't know where it was going to go. So a lot of us were calling our families saying, get in the cellar, do this or that. Right. And a lot of my cabinet heads or my department heads and deputies and others, they took direct hits too. So walking down South Main Street, our utility lines are underground. So it was like the Twilight Zone, Rod Sterling for our older viewers.
Yeah, right.
Buildings were shredded. Television sets were on, probably on 22 News, and lights were on. Unbelievable. Then I remember trying to get home. It must have been about 4 or 5 more just to freshen up and check on my family. And then they said, and I'm Springfield born, bred, and proud. So, Mayor, wait until you get to East Forest Park. It is unrecognizable. And when I got there, it was unrecognizable how it got leveled. But the
city bounced back
we did.
Tremendously after that. I think of, the whole area, Springfield specifically, because it was hit hardest, like September 12th, 2001. Everybody came together. The day after tragedy, everybody came together. How can we help?
That's what happened. We had the next morning, emergency preparedness, I had about 28 to 32 direct reports. Besides city reports, we had the hospitals there. We had utilities, the whole 9 yards. And
everybody
we would
came
go
out.
one by one. We'd go, what do you need? What do you need?
Right.
And then we'd probably be in there for an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 at the most. And then like the Doobie Brothers saying, take them to the streets.
Right.
We were on the streets 14, 16, 18 hours. Because I told everybody, my financial team and Emily, I track all the cost. We have to do whatever we need to do for our residents and our business community ASAP. I'll front the money because we have to be able to provide for them and track all the costs. And then we'll go after FEMA and for the reimbursements, which we did pretty well. And Congressman Neal was very helpful. But many times I had to appeal things 5, 6 times with FEMA. But we were able to, and we were able to. The resiliency, and everywhere I went, people, Mayor, we're gonna be okay. Thank you, Anna. And that's what kept us going 24/7. The first FEMA chief was Nick. He was an Italian guy. He was a former fire, but he had said, and this was at a public meeting in East Forest Park. He said, Mayor, You're going to see, I've been to 80 natural disasters, man-made disasters, natural that turned into man-made disasters because of complete and utter mismanagement. Springfield, you're going to be used, and Springfield's going to be used as an example how to handle it. Subsequently, we were. Chris Signoli and I, my DPW, others, we spoke at different events, and we were the only standalone city a few years back to get a resiliency grant. I think it was the nation, $17.8 million because of all the natural and man-made disasters we faced that year and the following year.
Wow, what a story. We are up on our second commercial break. We've got more with Mayor Sarno. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to today's edition of InFocus. I am excited and happy to be joined by the Honorable Mayor Dominic Sarno. He is across the desk from me today. Mayor Sarno, thank you for joining me. We have covered a lot of ground over the first portion of this conversation. We are in 2025. You've covered tragedies. You've covered when you first took office, the city was in dire financial straits. Where is the city as we stand today? Is it in good standing? What are some of the things that we can look forward to in the future? Springfield is the core of Western Mass.
We are the capital of Western Mass. So we are in strong financial status, and we're going to need that because of the uncertainty of decisions that are being rendered and made on the federal level, which trickles down to the state level, which then trickles down to me on the city level. But as I indicated before, the highest bond ratings in the city's history. And people might say, what's the big deal about bond ratings? It is a big deal because we have to bond to do projects, and whether in neighborhoods, continue to build new schools, economic development.
It's your borrowing power.
It's your borrowing power on it. And we have a very healthy reserves. I've been able to balance the budget at least its last 12 years without going into the reserves. Hopefully we can keep that trend going, but we continue to face cutbacks.
What's the biggest issue facing the city of Springfield today?
I think right now it would be housing. Housing is the biggest issue.
It's the theme across the state.
And Secretary Ed Augustus was in just the other day, which 22 News covered for a fair housing listening session. And I've spoken to Governor Healy, Maura Healy, and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. And she's a mayor. She gets it mayors. We got to get things done yesterday.
Right.
Well, tapping into that momentum fund, which can project, especially for housing, whether it's market rate housing, workforce development housing, got to continue to increase our tax base, even on the commercial level on it. And that brings a little more equity when it comes to doing the tax rate on it. So housing is the biggest issue right now. I've done a number of different housing projects, whether market rate, whether workforce development throughout the city, and we're going to continue to do that. As I stated, I want to continue to build new schools and rehab schools. We put out millions and millions of dollars to help small businesses and other businesses. They create a lot of the jobs, and I think that's important on it. So we're going to continue that. Some other developments you guys reported on, the McCaffrey's development in State and Maine, that's going to be done. I want that grand thoroughfare promenade to the south end, maybe La Florentina, get Ann and Leo to open up later in the evening for straight out nice espresso cappuccino down there.
So I'm going to pull it up on screen now. There was a report from the national magazine Travel and Leisure of the 10 best places to retire in the Northeast for lower taxes and affordable housing. I think this shocked everyone that I'm scrolling down to it now. Coming in at 6th place is Springfield, Massachusetts.
Well, we do give a lot of services. You get a lot of services for what your tax dollars pay for. And, I try to be as fair as possible. It's a balancing act. You want to be respectful to our residents, but you also want to be able to keep jobs being created on the commercial level on it. But we do give a lot of services. We have good housing stock, older housing stock.
Right.
The inventory is very low.
Some beautiful architecture in those older homes.
Exactly. But the real estate market still stays hot.
Right.
And it's funny because when people, when they're selling their home, they want their assessment to be high.
Right.
When they're paying their taxes, they want their assessment to be, to be low. But we have to provide these services, and I have a tremendous amount of fixed costs that I have to pay in every budget. The budget's going to be over $1 billion,
Wow.
Patrick. But here's the thing: 2/3 of that is on the school side.
Right.
I can't
Like
touch
every
that money.
community. Every
So
community
anything
have
we,
to educate our
we
kids.
raise in the reserves is done only on the city side, which is probably 400 million or more in change on it. But I'm going to continue to build on more economic development projects. We'll have announcements coming up in housing. Housing is number one priority.
Well, when it comes to housing, I look at some of our surrounding communities that have more open space than the city of Springfield does.
We're
So
land poor.
I'm sorry?
We're land poor.
Exactly. So how do you have to go up? You can't go out,
Yeah.
correct? So are there developers looking at any portion of the city to create multi-unit housing?
Yeah, it's a redevelopment of commercial spaces.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that's going on right now. Some other major developments, we worked hard with the state to keep the courthouse here in Springfield and downtown or riverfront area. And that's going to be a big development. Eastfield Mall, expanding the commercial bases, moving forward. Hey, listen, you had those other, you had MGM,
right?
Union Station, which is a regional hub, working with Congressman Neal. CRRC, the largest railway manufacturing company in the world. You had some big things. Big Y, the warehouse coming to Springfield here. But small businesses, which we've invested millions and millions of dollars in, many in minority businesses and women-owned and veterans businesses also on it.
Good.
So we want to continue to do that and spur that. But the basics of people want it to be clean and safe. Parks, I've invested 10, 15 million, millions of dollars in our parks and Forest Park, building new parks. And that's important to the green space that we do on it. So we're trying to hit all the areas. Green spaces are like oases in urban centers.
Right.
And you have to have that. So housing is the number one priority.
It's funny you bring up green spaces because I think a lot of people look at it as, and it's sort of a waste of money, a waste of city money, but they are an oasis. It's a space where you're walking your dog, you're walking your kid, you just sit down, relax, take in nature.
We get in so many compliments, especially with our parks at Forest Park, and Tom Ashner's crew have done a great job. Look at our golf courses. Veterans and Franconia have sunk a lot of money into that.
I had my first chance to play Franconia a year ago. I was dumbfounded how beautiful that place was.
Making money. We're getting big time tournaments. We're getting great reviews across, saying these are public courses.
Exactly.
Here. So these are amenities and the services that we're able to, and very affordable on it. But I'm going to stay, I'm a meat and potatoes type mayor. Okay. And I'm a law and order mayor. I fund, reentry programs through Sheriff Nick Coach, who's been a great partner. We're warranted. But those, hardcore repeat offenders, they have to stay out of off our streets and out of our neighborhoods. That's what people want, no matter what creed, color, or background on it. So keep finances in order. Keep our education moving forward. Keep economic development projects going that creates jobs. Public safety will still be my number one priority. And then all the ancillary things, the parks and services that we have on it. We're an urban center, Patrick. Do we have our challenges like other urban centers? We do, but there's plenty more good in the beautiful mosaic.
Which is why Springfield is ranked number 6 of
the city of Springfield.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I can't thank you enough for giving me some of your time. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I would love to have you back sometime, in 2026. Do a catch up on some of the other things happening.
And thank you for the mimosa. I'm just kidding.
Or is he?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Happy holidays.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.